If we do this, we'd be going in short-handed.
Yeah, you mean because he killed all our friends?
We owe this to everyone who's not in this room to try.
It's not about how much we lost. It's about how much we have left. We're the Avengers. We gotta finish this. You trust me? I do.
You could not live with your own failure. Where did that bring you? Back to me.
Tickets on sale now.
What is poppin' YouTube? Warstu here with a video on Avengers Endgame. First, I've got a question. What is Avengers Endgame? Comment down below, guys. What is this movie? I want you to comment down below, what is this movie? Because absolutely no one has any clue, really, when you think about it. We're going to try and break down what is this movie based on everything we already know. So if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe to never miss any of the videos. We are currently giving away tickets to go and watch this movie. Pretty awesome. All you got to do is subscribe to the channel with notifications on and let me know down below, what is this movie? What is going on in this movie? We're going to try and break it down in this video. So let me know all your ideas down below, because this is the most anticipated movie of the 21st century. We already know that tickets are going crazy. You can buy tickets for up to $25,000. People are selling them on eBay, which is absolutely insane. I mean, seriously, you could just wait a while. Anyway, let's get into this video. So it's officially being confirmed by the Russo brothers how long this movie is. I don't know how a movie can have like 25 different screen runtimes, and then it actually comes out in a report with the Hollywood Reporter that the runtime's actually 3 hours and 58 seconds, thereby making it the longest running time of any Marvel Studios title ever. Joe Russo, who directs the film with his brother Anthony Russo, later confirmed this is the official runtime while speaking with comicbook.com at CinemaCon event. I think it's 3 hours and 58 seconds, he said. We just sped up the credits is what we did. Of course, Joe Russo saying that he thinks the latest Marvel tentpole is a massive 3 hour and 58 seconds in length. Of course, 3 hours and 1 minute for short doesn't necessarily mean that this is the official runtime, considering the sheer amount of back and forth that he and his brother, along with the rest of the Marvel super secretive Marvel PR machines, have given reporters and fans about everything with the Marvel movie entails. We can probably accept that it actually is 3 hours, just like I said months ago. I know you guys are going to comment down below, Warstu, you say when you're right. Yeah, it's because no one believed me. That's why. And it's got to be 3 hours, because this movie is, in a nutshell, going to be Flashpoint, essentially. If you're a Flash fan, essentially it is Flashpoint. So let's get into what I think it is. But what's more important is, what do you think it is? So this is the official synopsis that's not actually official, but everyone is spinning with this narrative. And then we'll go on the Marvel website and read the real synopsis. Thanos snapped his fingers in Avengers Infinity War, and half the life in the universe instantly dissolved. Now a raged group of survivor warriors, including Captain America, Black Widow, Iron Man, Thor, and the Hulk, works to counteract the mad Titans genocide attack. Since our heroes couldn't stop Thanos the first time, what makes them think they can win in a rematch? This answer may be overwhelming power. Thanks to Captain Marvel, or in the tiniest spaces between the atoms accessible to Ant-Man, Avengers Endgame will rewrite the Marvel Cinematic Universe as we know it. When it's all over, nothing will be the same. Again, it's not clear if this is official. If you do some digging, it actually was, I guess you could say, it came from Atom Ticket. So it's not official, okay? So the rewritten bit, the rewrite, let's rewrite history, which sounds like Flashpoint to me, is not official. So now let's go on to Marvel.com and you can actually read the official breakdown of what this says. The grave course of events set in motion by Thanos that wiped out half the universe and fractured the Avengers ranked the remaining Avengers to take one final stand in Marvel Studios' grand conclusion to 22 films Avengers Endgame. Directed by Anthony Russo, Joe Russo, release date 26th of April 2019. So you can understand why there's a narrative that some people are spinning that literally doesn't say anything about rewriting history. But let's go down the line that this movie is about rewriting history, because we already know by the CinemaCon footage that Captain Marvel is going to try and undo the snap that Thanos created in Avengers Endgame. But it can't really be that simple, because if you watch his channel, you should be a comic book fan. And what is the most famous, I guess you could say, time travel storyline in any comic book, even Marvel or DC? Flashpoint. So, spoiler warning, what happens in Flashpoint? Barry Allen's mother is killed by the Reverse Flash, which is essentially our Thanos in this story. And then what happens is the Flash, aka Barry Allen, runs back in time to stop Ebar Thawne, who is essentially our Thanos in this story, the Reverse Flash, to stop his mother from being killed. Then it creates an alternate universe where Barry Allen's mother is alive, but absolutely everything is different. There's villains are heroes, heroes are villains. The whole universe is out of whack. Why? Because something that was meant to happen didn't happen. It was changed. So let's say that the finger snap gets reversed, right? So let's say there's a natural timeline here in this universe where Thanos was always going to snap half the universe. And let's say the Avengers do end up essentially reversing the snap, and we go into this new timeline where it's created someone like Galactus or someone crazy like the One Above All or the Beyonder. So essentially, if they do reverse the snap in a way that's not supposed to happen, it could, in theory, give Marvel an opportunity to introduce the next big bad. Now, realistically, unless there was a massive secret deal whilst the Fox deal was going through with Disney, they wouldn't have that much time, maybe a month, to do the VFX or special effects for someone of Galactus's level. Now, obviously, we've all seen that world-famous post-credit scene, it's not really real, of Galactus saying he's going to eat Earth. Essentially, yeah, I guess he could, but I don't really think they could add a character like Galactus, like the Living Tribunal, like the One Above All in just a month. So essentially, in theory, yes, that could be a post-credit scene. So I guess you could say they can change small things. Time is malleable, so to speak. So they could change tiny things of how things played out, but they couldn't change a massive event that was supposed to happen in the natural timeline, so to speak. Say in the timeline we're currently in, Loki was not supposed to die. So in theory, they could go back in time, save Loki, but because that's not a massive event in this timeline, so to speak, Loki could survive in this timeline. But from what we understand, the Infinity Stones, the Infinity Stone storyline, the Infinity Saga, it was always building up to Thanos having to win, essentially. So what's going to happen in this movie, and I really hope it's not going to play out this way, is they're going to keep reversing time until there's no massive ramifications for changing the timeline and stopping the universe being snapped. But they won't know this until they're actually a few months into this new timeline. So it's going to be very interesting to see how they tackle this, because it doesn't matter which way you word it, if you call it Flashpoint or if you call it the world famous butterfly effect that was created, that essentially is the same thing as Flashpoint, essentially. But I don't really like the concept of butterfly effect. I really think the Flashpoint theory explains it like so much better. So essentially, a very small change in something changes something drastically in somewhere else. So this is why I've always said on this channel that this movie will include alternate realities, because if they do reverse the finger snap, so to speak, it will be an alternate reality, like a paradox. That's why the Flashpoint storyline is called the Flashpoint paradox. It creates a paradox, it creates a timeline that's not supposed to survive, it's not supposed to be there. So essentially, if this is the route they're going to go through, because I don't think anyone's said this, essentially, what will happen is when they do officially kind of go with a timeline, they're going to realize that this has created something so bad that they're going to have to change the timeline again, to the point where they might even have to survive in a timeline where half the universe was actually snapped. Because remember, yes, this synopsis is not confirmed. It's not official. It's just a cinema website writing their own narrative. But you could have a timeline where some of the dusted Avengers never return, or you could change it to the point where only a few of them didn't return, because not all the Avengers are that big characters. We do know, it's being confirmed, that literally every Avenger is at the end of their contract, except for the likes of Black Panther, Doctor Strange, etc. We know that Robert Downey Jr., we know that Chris Evans, we know that Chris Hemsworth, they're all at the end of their contracts. Obviously, if they've all renewed the contracts, they're not going to talk about it publicly, at least until Avengers Endgame is over, so it doesn't reveal any spoilers. There is top secretivity on this movie, because even the reviewers for this movie are not getting to watch it till 2 days before the domestic release. So that is how top secret they are being with this movie. No one has really watched this movie. So I would love to know, guys, do you think they're going to follow a Flashpoint storyline? Because it's going to have to include a lot of time travel, whether that be the quantum realm going through time vortexes, but they've got to be careful when they go through time vortexes, because essentially they can create massive timeline changes. If, say, Robert Downey Jr., Tony Stark, was to interact with a younger Tony Stark, and if Steve Rogers was to interact with a different Steve Rogers, it could essentially change a lot in the future. Obviously, time is malleable and you can change small things, but if you start changing massive things, it could mess up the future. So if they did want to introduce a new character that wasn't CGI heavy, they could essentially do that in a post-credit scene where essentially they think the whole timeline is sweet, and then right at the end, a new big bad appears in front of your face. Personally, I can't see them doing that. But over the next week or so, I'm going to drop a bunch of videos about what is going to happen in Endgame, because there's so many people talking about Endgame on Instagram, YouTube, Tumblr, every single social media website, but no one's really talking about what is Endgame. The main vocal point of everyone's story is they're going to reverse the snap. They're going to reverse the snap. But are they? I mean, I want to know down in the comment box, guys, what is actually going to happen? It can't just be a 3-hour movie about them failing to reverse the snap. Keep repeating. Now, we have had it unofficially confirmed that we'll be seeing alternate versions of the characters. That's why we know there will be some kind of parallel paradox universe, which is going to be fantastic. But they've got a lot of time, even though it's the combination of 22 movies, 10-year Marvel Cinematic Universe history. 3 hours is a long time for any given movie. Now, we do know this movie will break crazy numbers. All the ticket websites will crash in on the day of release, which broke the Star Wars record in just 6 hours alone, which is mad. But guys, let me know, do you think this movie is going to have a similar scenario to the Flashpoint movie or the Butterfly Effect movie? Because essentially you cannot get away with it. This movie has to have time travel. They've warned us. They've said the quantum realm in the Ant-Man and Wasp. That's essentially the last thing we're seeing in the context of a post-credit scene before this movie starts. And Janet said time vortexes. We know the white suits. They've shown us the white suits that are essentially space and quantum realm suits and alternate reality suits, so to speak. We've seen everything. They cannot hide time travel. Yes, in the latest trailer, they've tried to hide the fact that they're misleading us into thinking it's the current version of Steve Rogers, but we've seen the behind-the-scenes images that tells us it's really Steve Rogers in the classical suit. So we know they will be revisiting the first Avengers attack when Loki had the scepter. If they change things massively, that is why they cannot spin the narrative that they're going to steal all of the 6 stones. I mean, essentially, if they took one of the stones, it wouldn't really change everything. But in order for the finger snap to happen, he needs all the stones to gain all the power to snap half of the universe. So I think this does confirm some variation of the Flashpoint effect. But essentially, the Flashpoint effect didn't work because Flashpoint, Barry Allen eventually realized that he had to let Eobard kill his mother in order to stop differences in the future. Will there be a scenario here similar to that? And this is why no one knows what is coming up in this movie. We might be able to decipher some of it, 10, 20 minutes of it, but no one has figured out what is going to happen. So like always, guys, let me know down below. Does this confirm the Flashpoint theory? Do you think there's going to be a scenario where the Avengers do redo the snap to stop everyone from disappearing, but then it changes things in the future? Because obviously, even if they do unverse the snap or undo the snap, that's not going to stop Thanos, because this movie isn't just about getting the fallen heroes back. It's not just about getting Spider-Man back, because remember, Spider-Man Far From Home literally starts moments after this movie. It's also about stopping the Titan, stopping the greatest threat ever. Remember, Age of Ultron is the movie that revealed the title was Endgame. Remember, up there, that is Endgame. It's always been about Endgame. Is Ultron going to appear? There's so much to talk about this. I don't want to make this video any longer than it already is, but I really do think this will be a Flashpoint-based movie for part of it, until they realize they cannot change massive differences in the past. But like always, guys, please like, subscribe, and comment. And if you are a massive Flash fan like me, let me know in the comment box down below, and I will catch you in another video very soon. Catch ya later.